Welcome to episode 131 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is back. How you doing, Warren?
I'm back. I was out last week. I think
it was New Year's.
It was New Year. Yeah, I think my wife wanted to spend more family time. We didn't have enough family time, so we needed some more. So
it's okay.
We took a ride to see the lights before they took them down. So so it's good to be back.
My thanks to my friends Brian and Holden. That was we had a great show last week, and we definitely had good fill-ins while you were out here. But we got our returning guest, Mr. Jeff Gamet, back on the show. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. And it's awesome to be here. Thank you for inviting me back. Yes. I'm trying to figure out, were you trying to say in a nice way that you have easy to locate replacements for Warren if, something should happen to him?
No, it was planned. I knew Warren had it planned. So, and
I always tell Dave, I don't do this. So if this is not my thing. So if you got somebody else, you go for it.
And Warren, just so you know, I'm just talking smack, as they say.
No, it's fine, and I don't take any offense to any of that, and I encourage Dave to spread his wings and get whoever he needs to get on. So.
No, that's why that's why I like the variety of the show. We get something. It's always something different each week. So, let's go ahead and jump in. Of course, Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a interesting week to say the least, but we won't be talking about any of that. Those topics.
Eventful New Year.
Yes, it's very eventful, but we're going to keep our topics to tech, please. Quiet news week, which we expect, and probably be a quiet news month, but lots of things to talk about anyway. So let's jump right back in. Let's jump right into the news here. And first story I had here is Google was planning to update iOS apps with the privacy labels soon. Earlier this week, this is in Mac Rumors. Earlier today, that was a couple days ago here, they shared an article noting that Apple had yet to update their iPhone and iPad apps, which was like December 7th, which interestingly enough is the day before Apple implemented the privacy the requirements for apps. So they've been kind of holding back and hadn't done it yet. So there was some speculation. They have held it back and maybe they don't want to do it yet. We're not sure, but there's other reports here saying that Google is not taking any stand against Apple's privacy labels and it's planning to add the data to its app catalog soon, as this week or next week. So far hasn't been released yet. But is this a thing, something that could be coming with other app developers? I don't think anybody is smaller than Google, but probably some larger ones as Google. What'd you think, Jeff?
I think this is a pretty crappy move on Google's part.
I agree.
It's not like this was a surprise. It's not like they didn't have plenty of lead time. Yeah. And yet they still haven't been able to hit Apple's deadline. And it's just a crappy move.
Yeah, agreed. Any thoughts on this, Warren?
On Google's side, it probably takes 3 or 4 weeks to actually figure out what privacy settings they need to tell Apple they have. Yeah. I think it's not as easy as some of the other apps, and they probably are going through it and seeing what they need to, what they're collecting. They probably don't even know everything they're collecting at this point. So I think probably half of it is. Yeah, I'm sure half of it is procrastinating, and half of it is the other half of it is over the holidays and New Year's and people are around, and the other half of it is figuring out which parts they need to say they collect.
If only Apple had given developers a lot of lead time so they could work through all of this.
But developers, they wait till like the last minute to do anything.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
And some developers will wait until it's too late, and then they come up with reasons why they couldn't do it before the deadlines. Sure. And I'm sure Google does have some valid reasons somewhere along the way for missing this deadline, but come on.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
They didn't really miss the deadline because they didn't update their app. So if you don't update
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So their next update is when it has to be included. Right. Oh wait, it's like next update or certain date, as I recall.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Certain date. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm not surprised. Yeah, we'll go to the date. That's right.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not at all surprised. So, next story. This was in iPhone Hacks. The iPhone 12 mini sales have been disappointing in the U.S. Based on a survey that was done conducted by Consumer Intelligence Research Partners. The iPhone 12 series has been doing exceedingly well for Apple, but it notes that the 12 series is accounted for 76% of all total sales in the U.S. Following the launch, but the Mini is not doing as well as they expected. The sales evenly distributed between all four models in comparison, but it seems it's fared poorly, with only accounting for only about 6% of the sales. But, I really think since they have other models that are still out there, like the SE and the 10R and the 11 are still out there. And we had reported that the 11 Pro was probably one of the most frequently activated phone during Christmas time. So this is interesting to see. But then we talk to people that absolutely love their iPhone 12 minis. So what did you think about this, Warren?
I never understood people who wanted a smaller phone. I never had this desire to own anything smaller than, well, right now the Max. But I mean, I just don't understand how they find it usable to have a phone that small with a screen. If you're going to use it as a phone, fine. But how do they? I don't understand it. So let's just go with that. So I'm not shocked. I think a lot of people say they want it, but when it really when it comes out, then they look at it and they're like, nah, it's too small, and they go with something else. Yeah.
What do you think, Jeff? Jeff, you haven't gotten a new iPhone yet, have you? You still have the 11 or a 10?
I still have the 10, and I've just, it's been a busy time. I've just kind of been procrastinating.
It's okay.
And I'm in the position where it's okay for me to do that. So, hey, why not? The smaller size, I totally get why people like it. And for me, if I can have all the features of a 12 Pro with the 12 screen size, I would go for it. And for me, it's because the phone, even though it does all of these other things for me, to me, a mobile phone should be something that I can operate completely one-handed. And if I can't, well, then that's why I have a tablet. So the problem I have right now, and it's a problem that I have chosen to accept because I want the other features, the 10 is it's too big. Because, and by extension, the 12 Pro is too big because I can't fully operate it one-handed.
Okay.
But I really want the other features that go along with it. And so this will sound weird, but the bigger screen is actually a sacrifice for me. And Warren, I can totally imagine that in the back of your mind, you're thinking, Jeff's insane. and I'm willing to accept that. That is totally valid.
I get the one hand thing because there's been times where I'm like laying in bed and my wife's holding my hand and I'm like, I gotta check something and I can't.
It is so romantic. I
want my hand back.
How romantic you guys hold hands in bed.
Well, sometimes we cut a little bit, and then I understand people want to put it in their pockets, and some people will have tight pockets. I get the reasons of some of it, but at the end of the day, there's so much information now that you get on your phone that just looking at a tiny screen just seems difficult to me. It actually sounds I'll have to put on reading glasses. I won't see all the things I need to see. It just seems like it would be difficult for me to do it, like physically.
I have a couple things to add to the to the actual story and not why I should be glad that I have to use a bigger screen. First, we really don't know how many iPhone models Apple sells because they don't share that information. This is all based on surveys. So So it's not accurate numbers. They might be accurately reflective of Apple sales. We don't know for sure. And then the other thing is, even if the iPhone 12 is not selling well in the United States, it may very well be selling well in other countries.
Yep.
So
true.
So people are looking at it and saying, "Hey, the smaller iPhone 12 model, it's a failure." I wouldn't say that.
No,
I would say based on one study, it's not selling as well as is expected.
Yeah, this was one of the first studies that caught my eye. So,
and Apple knows what they're selling, and if they want to cut back production of the small phone and still produce it, they could do that. Yeah,
of course, yeah. Apple has total control over this production, and yes, and you're right. They know exactly what they're selling, and I'm assuming they know how many phones they sell down to the minute.
Yep. Next story here on the Mac Observer, our friend Charlotte Henry, the iPhone 12 costs 21% more to make than the iPhone 11. The blended material cost for the 128 gig, the iPhone 12 comes in at nearly $415. That's a 21% increase over the iPhone 11, according to an analysis. And they break it down as saying components are designed by Apple in the iPhone 12, such as the A14 Bionic and the PMIC audio and UWB chip, blah, 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 blah. Then it just accounts for the increase. Are you all surprised here that it's increased? And because of course they're new components and they're more expensive. So what do you think, Jeff?
Well, also the iPhone 11, when it came out, costs more to produce than the iPhone 10R
or 10S.
The 10R and the 10S. And that cost to make the iPhone 11 over time decreases.
Right.
So of course, it costs less to make an iPhone 11 than it does to make an iPhone 12. And I expect that next year we'll reports about how the iPhone 13 costs 20% more to make than the iPhone 12, but it's all relative. So the costs for these phones are going down over time anyhow, and new components, like you said, it's going to cost more for that.
Right.
But those prices decrease. There's a reason why Apple's using older processors in some of their devices, and it's because it costs less. Therefore, it makes it easier to sell that device at a lower price point.
Right. Thoughts on that, Warren?
Oh, not much. They stopped giving it a charger, which saves them a couple bucks there. Probably. So it makes up maybe $3 or $4 for them, if that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
They could afford it, and if they get, I think right now they're more serious about getting people into the ecosystem with the services than worrying too much about the margin of the devices.
And they're not losing money on these phones.
No. Yeah, that's true.
Apple very rarely will lose money on their products. It's a rare thing that would happen. But good segue here to the next story in Apple World today. Apple touts the success of its various services, and Apple actually posted this article on their newsroom. And some of the highlights include developers selling digital goods and services, which is a small fraction of overall commerce on the App Store that are facilitated, have now earned more than $200 billion since the App Store started in 2008. Among the 2020's most downloaded apps was Zoom and Disney Plus. No surprise there. Helping families, friends, colleagues, classmates keeping connected. And then games become more popular ever. I have to check out this game, Among Us. Among Us is, I have not, I'd be curious what it is.
I tried it once and I couldn't figure it out. So.
Okay, I'll have to check this out. So,
then Warren, that means you're the saboteur.
No, it means it means I'm
okay.
It means I'm
all
almost
kinds
50.
of people out there that just got the joke.
Yeah, and I think it means that I'm almost 50 years old and I don't get it. My son has to teach it to me. So.
I'm even older, so over the holiday season, App Store customers spent $1.8 billion on digital goods and services over the week between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And a lot of it was driven by games. So they spent over $540 million on New Year's Day alone. So Apple Music had, which offers 70 million songs, had a record year because people are finding more times to discover and engage with music. And then, of course, Apple TV, which is still, I don't know if a lot of people are still paying for it as now we've got the bundles. And that was the big thing with the bundles. It's you have that with the rest of the apps here, and then you have Apple Books, which shows a remarkable growth. A lot of people are reading books. Again, maybe this pandemic might have a little bit to do with this. 90 million monthly active users. And then Apple Podcasts is now in over 175 countries with programming in more than 100 languages. So there's our link in the show notes to not only this article, the actual newsroom post that Apple put. So you kind of read the article through the newsroom. You kind of think Apple's tooting their own horn a little bit here, wouldn't you think? A little bit as you skim through some of the stuff that they're talking about. But
just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you just read through all this, and
that's why you have press releases to toot your own horn.
Yeah, so exactly.
They didn't include Apple News, which was interesting, and
in the article, but it's in the newsroom. It's in the newsroom post.
There was one. Are you sure? Because there's one service they missed, and I thought that's what it was.
If you go to Apple's newsroom press release, it says Apple News delivered curated world-class journalism in 2020. So,
but no numbers, right?
No numbers, of course. No, there's no numbers anywhere. Same thing with Fitness Plus and Apple Pay has been very popular. Good thing about Apple Pay, I went to grab some lunch today, and there was a small hot dog place. I was hungry for a hot dog today for lunch, and I thought for sure there's no way these people have Apple Pay. Sure enough, they had the system set up similar to Square. I forgot the name of what it was, but it said Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and Google Pay, and I was like, great. Flipped my Apple Watch on and paid for my food. So Apple Pay has become huge, and the Apple credit card too. So the Apple Card. So the services are going to just keep continuing to evolve, and the bundles are even making it even more enticing. By both Warren and I have the Premier bundle for $29.95, and I think it's a good deal. I've been pretty happy having that.
My wife hasn't complained about any bill yet, so it's been 2 months, so that's a good sign.
But honey, divide it by all these services. There's,
I think, and this is a good point though. But if somebody else is doing the bills or things like that, seeing 4 charges from Apple,
true,
even if it comes out to be a lower price than one charge from Apple, which might be slightly higher. If you're doing the bills, you're going to notice the 4 lines of Apple much more than you're going to notice the 1 line of Apple. Even if one's more expensive than the other. And so people work like that. And that's why we needed the bundle, because people were tired of, having all these charges from one company on their
it's annoying. It's annoying. Any other thoughts, Jeff, on this?
We've all known that Apple is a services company in addition to a hardware company for quite a while now, and press releases like this just and I know a lot of people over the years have complained about Apple getting into services. I think it's smart, because if they have all of their company's eggs in one basket, so to speak, and that one part of the market starts to go soft, then that's bad for business. So you need to diversify so that you can ride out the lows in one place with highs somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely. And then last article, also in Apple World Today, I thought this was a nice little segue for something that's a speculation, rumor. Loup Ventures foresees future Apple services such as Health Plus, Maps Plus, Podcast Plus, and more. And they seem to think that Apple's going to be adding more services to their list of the current ones, which we already have. And they foresee these things that they mentioned. And Health Plus would be like a health care opportunity that would leverage sensors to capture more health data. Stocks Plus. I mean, maybe Apple might dabble into the stock market to extend what they already have with the Apple Card. Maps Plus could be a relation to the Apple Car. That's probably going to be 10 years from now. And Mail Plus, which would handle inbox management. I'd love to see that because the Mail app is not great. And then Podcast Plus, maybe. I know Apple had been speculating for a while, or not speculating. There had been speculation that podcasts was going to expand so they could take a page from what Spotify and many others are doing with Podcast Plus. I could see some of these services. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I can see some of these services. The stocks, that's the one that goes to the bottom of the list for me for possibilities. Yeah. But yeah. I'm not Apple. What do I know? Mm-hmm. And I'm interpreting this really as Apple is going to expand their services in these different categories with new subscriptions. So you get all the great health features that we get already. But with Health Plus, you pay a subscription, and now you get even more. And then, like for podcasts, just like Spotify's doing, subscribe to Spotify, and you get these premium podcasts. And then Apple, they could have their own premium podcast network. And same thing for Mail. You want to have all these pro features for Mail. Okay, you get the app for free and everything it does. Pay this extra subscription, and now you have all of these other features that makes Mail more powerful.
Absolutely. Any thoughts, Warren?
No, I mean they're not like Google where they're going to throw all these services out and see what sticks. So they're very different that way. So they're going to do a lot of research and make sure that they launch it. Apple style is basically like big. Like the News Plus, we got the big people, we got New York Times, we got all that. So they're it would be great if they could kind of just drop something out and not really make a big deal out of it and see if it takes off. But that's just not their style. That's like Google style, which sometimes works for them and most of the time doesn't.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, that's news for this week. Let's move on to topics. Beta this week. We always talk about beta, see what's going on. Boy, sure, it's only been it's almost a month since the last update to iOS 14.4 was released on December 16th, 2020. And there's been no updates since. Maybe we're nearing the release of it. Have you seen anything out of the ordinary on beta 14.4 that you've been using, Warren?
No, it's been the same. I knew they weren't going to do anything for the holidays. Usually that they're not going to do anything over the holiday week, which fell on the week that the beta would come out. So I thought this week was going to be the week that they would release something.
Yeah, nothing.
They haven't. So they could be 2 weeks behind just with the holiday, and maybe next week we'll get another beta. But I haven't noticed. My phone did freak out on me once. I tried to answer a call and the screen went black and I couldn't do anything with it. That was annoying, but other than that, it's all good. Smooth.
Welcome to beta. Any thoughts, Jeff? Any thoughts on that?
On production,
Jeff?
Yeah. Honestly, I would have been surprised to see a beta this week. Yeah. And it goes back to what Warren said. There's that window where Apple shuts stuff down for the holiday season. Right. So going into Christmas and through New Year's. So my guess was that they just kind of froze everything where it was with the beta that came out on the 16th of December.
Yep.
And now they're back. This is the first week back. So they're working on betas again, and then next week I expect we'll see a new beta.
All right. Let's see what happens. We'll be reporting it next week.
And if I'm wrong, feel free to call me out.
We might.
I'll get my email ready.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's move on. And one of the topics I wanted to do this week is it was Christmas time. We're now in 2021 and brand new year, and I did receive a couple of gifts. Well, the first gift I ended up getting was a clear MagSafe case again, which I forgot to take it off on my list. So I ended up returning that, and then I went ahead and purchased the OtterBox iPhone 12 Pro Max case, the ANU series, which is sold by Apple. So that case was I thought would be interesting because I also got as a gift the Belkin Car Vent Mount Pro with MagSafe. So, but let me talk about the case first. So the case had some interesting colors. I went with a black licorice, which was the interesting color in itself. So this case is $49.95. These items are both sold exclusively at Apple. So because even the link I have in the show notes to OtterBox, it says it's sold out, but Apple had plenty in stock, so it's obviously an Apple only product right now. It did seem kind of cool. I looked at the pictures and I was impressed with it, and the design was nice. But again, I have this iHome clock stand wireless charging, Qi charging that I want to be able to use. I don't want to change it right now. I really like it because it's a stand. I can set my iPhone standing up on it and it starts charging. And I have a really basic case, like $13, whatever I paid for it. So I got the case, and first off, didn't fit on that was the deal breaker right there. And then also, I just didn't like the way it felt. I mean, it was like kind of like almost gooey, and maybe that's why it's called black licorice. So, so I was not very impressed with this case at all. I wanted to try it out because the first thing I had received was the vent mount, which is a really cool thing. I actually liked it. I tried it in my car. It's a magnetic MagSafe mount that you you put your iPhone on, and it's solid. I mean, it really holds the phone. But I stuck it on my vent, and the vent kept kind of moving up and down. It doesn't stay, how vents normally stay in a position. Well, with the weight of this thing, it was moving it. So I was not at all impressed with that. And then the case actually worked fine on this mount, but it was just, I guess, with the deal breaker with the case and then this, I said, yeah, they're going back. So I guess it was a product review, and I didn't keep them. So, but I think Apple's really trying to get these MagSafe devices out there. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to get in on my iPhone clock charger. But for now, I'm happy with the case I have. It's good. Warren, have you other than the you have the charging puck that Apple makes? Do you have anything else in MagSafe?
Yeah, so a few things with that. I have one MagSafe case, and I just got this one off Amazon today. It just came in the mail. It's a silicone blue one. It was like $20 maybe. I haven't tried it with the MagSafe, but it does have the circle thing in there, so I'm going to try that. Can link in the show notes for that. Yeah, well, only if it's good, and if it's not good, I won't put it in there. But I do have one MagSafe from Apple, and I did get one MagSafe from Zero Lemon before they took it off the Amazon store. They both seem okay. I would love to try out that Belkin mount because I really want something like that. But my evidently Teslas don't have vents, so I
wouldn't be good.
So
I've
that's
never
not going
been
to work.
a fan of vent mount holders for phones.
Me neither.
I agree.
Yeah, actually, I'm not either, but that's the only option right now. So I'm waiting for more options. The Tesla's really a hard card. It's mounting my phone in the Tesla has become a project because it's not easy. It's very deep of a dash, and there's really nowhere to put anything because you got the big screen in front of you to the right, so you can't really put the phone there. So what I got from Amazon was this. So what I'm doing now, MagSafe related, is I got this windshield mount. It goes on the windshield with a really long tube on it, and I put it on the end there, and it's a non-charging holder. So I put my MagSafe on the phone, and then I clip it on the phone like that, which works pretty well. This way I could kind of take it off and I could play around with it and not have it tied up. So, yeah, that's been what I did with doing with the MagSafe. I've noticed I bought 2 other cases so far, and neither of them actually work at all with the MagSafe. It won't get through the case, so you got to be careful with that. But I'm waiting for more options to do something with this.
Yeah.
Warren, the problems that you've been having with finding a way to mount your phone, I can feel your pain. I don't have a Tesla, but I do have a Prius, and there are similarities. Really deep dashboard, display that's right in front of you. The other place where you want to put a phone, there's a display there as well.
Right.
And I mean, ultimately, what I ended up doing was getting a product from Night Eyes. I think it's called the Steely Dash Mount, and so it's a little base with this like highly polished steel ball attached to it.
I've seen
that
like
it just goes. It just uses adhesive and attaches to some flat point on the dash. And in my case, I actually put it in the center console. And then I'm using a clamp mount on that.
That's what I have to
hold the phone in place.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, when I get an iPhone 12, it'd be nice to just be able to do the MagSafe in the car with what I already have. So I'm hoping that they come out with a MagSafe mount for the base that I already have in the car.
So with that, like in the setup I have now, what I would like is, because you could any of these car mounts are universal to the point where if you unscrew it, they all have the same plastic ball that you stick in there. So I'm hard, somebody needs to come out with one of those pieces that is MagSafe, and it's just a flat MagSafe panel where you can put the cable through and then just stick it on your phone.
I thought of something with what I have. Night Eyes makes other mounts, and so they actually make one where it's the magnet ring that would set onto the steel ball.
Okay.
So it's adhesive. Get a MagSafe charger, peel the adhesive off this, put it on the back of the charger, and then just stick it right on the little stand.
Yep. So it's
a strong magnet. I wonder if it would screw up the MagSafe charger with its magnetic field.
So Dave, your phone when it was on that thing, did you feel like it could fall off, or
when I took the case off on either case, I tried it without the case and with the case, and no, it was solid. It was very solid. You could tell with the outer
won't fall off.
Didn't seem like it. No, I mean, I really bumped it pretty good when it's connected without a case. Now, with the case, the MagSafe, the ring was inside the case. And I think the iPhone, it's kind of, you don't even see it, right? It's just kind of like blended in, if I remember correctly, the ring that's inside the case, unlike the clear case or the plastic case where you see the ring.
Yeah, it's inside them. And I think even my... I'm going to check, but even this Amazon knockoff, I think, has the same kind of thing. It's
okay.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. So it has
so you see the ring.
So it's the same kind of thing. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty solid. So, but
I think more are coming. So I think that's just the first iteration. I think we're going to see a lot.
Exactly.
Of money, so.
MagSafe is here to stay. I think you're going to start seeing more and more products. I'll be interesting to see what your thoughts are on that Amazon case you bought, because I'm still looking for one. I'd like to still try to have a MagSafe, because unfortunately the MagSafe doesn't work with a regular case. It has to have that magnetic ring inside there. So. Yeah, so
I'll put it in notes right now just in case it's a winner. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, cool. So, and then the other product I did order, but I had pre-ordered this in November, and it's our friends at OWC, MacSales.com. Now, if this was more of a Mac type device, this is the new Thunderbolt 4 hub, and it has the three Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back, and it also has the USB-A on the front, and it's got the output plugs right into any device. Well, the reason I wanted to bring this one up, other than the fact that then I got this on camera here, this is a great little device. Now, it's a nice small little hub, but the major downside to it is the power adapter that comes with it is a giant brick. I mean, it really is a huge brick, and I was very kind of disappointed that they did that. So this, I mean, you look at this type of hub and you think, yeah, this is going to be really cool to carry around with me. Well, I don't want to be carrying around that giant brick with me either, because it definitely has to be powered. I mean, there's no question that it has to be powered. So it's kind of a bummer. But the reason why I bring it up here on the show is I wanted to try to see how well it'd work with the iPad. So my iPad Pro. So I plugged it in and plugged it into the iPad Pro, and I had 3 different drives plugged in that are USB-C through the Thunderbolt 4 ports, and Files app found every single one of them. It was great. You plugged it in and you had file access. Yes, through the iPad Pro. So of course the Pro has the USB-C connector, and it also charged the iPad too. So if you want to have it plugged in, it's not only is it gives you access to drives, it also will charge it. So you have in one place. So I didn't try. Go ahead.
Am I reading that? Just to clarify one thing, is there a dock? Also, there's a hub and a dock, right?
Right. They announced the dock, the pre-CES.
Today, right?
Yeah, it was actually yesterday, but yeah, they put the announcements out today. That's why I'm going to talk about some of the pre-CES stuff, some products that I took a look at yesterday, one of the tech shows. But yeah, they also came out with a dock, which is going to have the same thing, the 3 Thunderbolt ports, and it's a little more expanded to have more flexibility for more of a Mac than anything else. This one is nice because it's just I still like the footprint of it, even though it requires that plug. That plug can be stashed obviously anywhere on your desk, but it's a great little little hub.
Is that cord long enough that the power brick itself could be below your desk on the floor or something?
Yeah. It's got a pretty good length on it. I've got it. I mean, it's hard for you to see it on camera here, but that's the cord here. And it's actually moving, and you don't see my finger now, but I've got a pretty good distance to it. I have the brick above on my desk right now, but yeah. Then again, maybe I want to take it with me, and of course, with me being the geek I am, I want to carry everything around with me. So I probably would carry it with the brick because I'm such a nut. But I think it's cool that it works with the iPad. So that's really the real reason why I brought it up, and wanted to share that. It works awesome with the M1 Mac. I mean, it screams. It's really fast. It even works well with my Intel MacBook Pro. So you got some really good power with this thing. I'm very, very impressed. And I've always loved OWC. They've got some great products, and always been impressed with what they have. I mean, I've got the Thunderbolt 3 dock right in front of me here that I've been using for years, that has every port you can think of, including still the old FireWire is still there. I got a FireWire cable sitting out here, just in case I have one of my drives I want to plug in my OWC FireWire drive, because I got old drives
ready for anything
back in the day. So, but that's why we're geeks and we love this stuff. So that was some of the products that I've personally had, but I wanted to kind of bring this up as far as some products that were announced this week, besides the OWC dock, that we got a lot of pre-shows that are happening before CES. This one was TechFluence, and there's going to be PepCom and Showstoppers are the 2 other conferences that kind of go along in accordance with CES. CES is actually going to start next week on Monday. I'll be attending some of the press events, so I'll be bringing everybody here next week some of the great things that they have announced. A lot of pre-announcements have already been coming out, so this is definitely going to be an interesting way of attending for this year. I attended for the first time, as most of you know, from one of my coverage from last year's event in 2020. That was my first time ever at the event, so it was a great thing.
Congratulations!
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and got to hang. You saw the pictures on Facebook. I get to hang out with all our friends, so which made it even more fun. With Chuck Joyner and Dave Hamilton and Allison Sheridan, to name a few. So we had a lot of fun, and I got to learn a lot, compare some notes, and now it's kind of a bummer because we're not going to see them, and it's hard. You want to try to get people, hey, let's go into a virtual room, and people just don't. That kind of things like it turns them off a little bit. so we'll have to do it virtually. Warren, you said you registered, right?
Cyber. Yeah,
What's that?
Yeah, I said, do you want a cyber?
Oh my God.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. You cracked me up.
My bucket list is to go to a real CES.
Yeah, you got to.
More or less just to go to Vegas. I love Vegas, so we go at least once a year, or we did when we were allowed to go. But so I registered as a media thing, and
good. So get to access all the stuff. Nice. Well, we got to compare notes.
I looked at it. I didn't really say offline. Either of you tell me what I should look at, because I can't figure it out.
You know, CES, and I've been a lot.
Right.
CES is one of those things that the first time you go, you need to have someone that can help guide you through, someone that's done it before, so that the stuff that's important, the stuff you can just totally blow off, and then how to try and figure out how to schedule and budget your time to see everything you want to see, because you literally cannot see everything.
It's impossible. I was lucky if I saw.
I would skip entire halls.
Yeah, me too.
See, I would be half at the blackjack tables, and the other half at the show, and I'm not even kidding. So that's
I think a lot of people do that. I tolerate Vegas. And it's been a place for me that every time I've gone, pretty much my entire life, it's been for a conference. So to me, it's the grungy place you go for conferences.
Right.
No. It's so much better than that.
It is.
I've seen some good shows there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, we did too. Yeah, we see shows. Good restaurants. Sometimes the shopping's good. We've done Hoover Dams. Yeah. We've done the helicopter ride at night on the Strip. So
I'm clearly missing out because I haven't done stuff like that when I go.
But they have this. I mean, you could. We went with friends one year that are they don't gamble, and they enjoyed it. I mean, you could go there and not gamble.
You can. I did when I was there.
Yeah, and I have enjoyed myself every time I've been there, and I'm not a gambler. And there's always been stuff to keep me entertained. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm just kind of a jerk about saying I don't like Vegas, because apparently I have a good time there anyhow. But I'm looking forward to when we can go back to stuff like this in person.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's.
I always loved going to CES. Really?
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. I wish I would have been able to go in person, see everybody. But thanks, Chuck Joyner. I'll always give him praise, because he let me tag along and hang out with him and he's the master. I tell you, I could not keep
Chuck
up with.
Chuck is the master.
I could not keep up with him.
I watched him last year. He had like 20 videos a day.
Yeah, exactly. He's a machine. He is a machine, and I couldn't keep up.
My office manager shut up when you get her out of the way.
Yeah. So let's move some of the two products that I wanted to discuss real quick. Is Jabra has a new. Well, I guess it came out a little while ago. It's the Jabra Elite 85T. Very similar to AirPods, but they kind of like fit right in your ear, and they're noise canceling. Really, really big sound. They're priced right around the same price as an AirPods Pro, like around $229. It's got a lot of good reviews on these products, and it's got noise canceling, adjustable sound, and they did some reviews, and it looks like they've got some great sounds, and Jabra makes some really good products, and it's got the advanced chip in there, one of their mightiest chipsets yet for processing. But we all like our AirPods, so it's pretty hard for me to switch off of these. So, and these are semi-open earbuds, and they include that advanced active noise canceling system. So, very cool. This announcement was they added more colors, so it's not just one color. So you can customize it a little more, get some different colors. But that was one of the products, and then. Other one that caught my eye was made by Movo. Movo, I think I remember I bought a microphone by them that at the time when iPhone still had the headphone jack, and it was a great mic. It was a lapel mic that I would use for recording stuff. But they came out with smartphone lenses. It's called the Movo SPL smartphone lens series. It comprises of 3 different high quality universal clip-on lenses that are designed specifically for smartphones. Works for both iOS and Android. So, and they have some interesting different lenses that are individually priced here. So you have a super fisheye lens, which is they're all at $39.95, which is not too bad of a price considering you have 3x zoom perspective clip-ons, and then you have the wide angle available as well. They're looking to see that this is going to be released probably late in this first quarter of 2021. And I don't know about you, Warren, but I've tried lenses before, and I don't know. I've now with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I don't even think there's really a need for these types of lenses, honestly. But a lot of photographers seem to like them.
Yeah, I was writing a review on a Kodak bundle that they sent me, and I mean, to be honest with you, I put it on and I used it, and I'm like, this is cool, and it worked, but I never got back to it. So, yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing like Jeff in Las Vegas. It's like, oh, I love it, it's great. It's look at this, and then I don't like it anymore because I don't feel like dealing with it. So, yeah.
So
I think the timing for this announcement specifically really good, since Oloclip is on hiatus. I don't know if that means that they're not coming back to make more products, but I mean, to me, Oloclip was the company to go to initially for iPhone camera lenses. And I've always enjoyed having the extra camera lenses because there were things that I would want to do with some shots that you just can't do with the lenses that are part of the iPhone. Like if you want to get a really good macro shot, you need a lens to add to your iPhone. You can't get it with what Apple's lenses offer. So for some people, I totally get why this aftermarket lens space is good. But Warren, I totally get why you tried out some lenses and thought, these are pretty cool, and then never picked them up again because
same here.
Your camera's already so good.
Yeah.
Unless you have a need for these lenses, why even bother? I mean, it's not even something that you would pick up just to have.
Right. Yeah, I'm not taking pictures of bugs and things like that, and it's something that you have to carry, and always have with you. So I mean, you just get used to not doing it. And you're right. The camera on the iPhone is so good that you could take a picture fairly far away, and when you get home, you could pretty much zoom in pretty well on it. So it's I'm sure it does a great job. But again, it's not for me.
So I'll definitely have some more stuff next week's show for CES. There's going to be a lot to review, and we'll give you some of the highlights because, like we said, there's a lot to review. So let's briefly talk a little bit. I'd like to just touch on maybe a couple minutes here on 2021. What we kind of will expect from Apple. Some insights from the panel here. I know for one thing for sure is I would hope at this point that the AirTags will finally be released this year. Don't you guys think that that's something that we would think that they might release? I mean, it's just I don't understand why haven't it been released by this point.
Well, they're getting leaks of accessory makers, right? Showing some
like keychains and
accessories. The keychain, So, and then there's talk of Tile coming out with their own new band to attract the
and their new wide field stuff.
Yeah, right. So so I mean, I think if Apple's going to do it, they should get their butt up and just do it at this point.
Wow, I don't know what they're waiting for. It's just.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like air power. It's like you're excited at first, but after a year, it's like you don't really even care anymore if they come out with it because so many other people have got it right at that point. So, if they wait long enough, let's put it this way, somebody else like Tile will come out with something better or similar enough to it.
Yeah.
Well, Apple's going to have to come out with something really good with their AirTags.
Yeah.
To get me to abandon my Tile tags because they are crazy durable They're really reliable, and there you go.
There you go.
And I already have them on all the bags where I need them.
And the thing is with Apple too, is they're all about, I mean, it kind of goes sort of against their whole privacy thing in a sense, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. There's something eerie about having something tracking things. It's got to be really like locked down, and like you have to trust it. Tile is one thing because it's not like you could find it wherever it is. I mean, you have to be like, if my son left the house and took my car and went somewhere and he had a tile on him, that wouldn't do me any good, more or less. But, you know, if you start getting better and you got something that's like really more of a GPS, and, you know, there's concerns I think you have to work out.
Warren, I'm picturing your kid walking around with this big fat radio collar with antennas on it, so you can keep track of where he is.
My son is very good, and he has find my phone on since day one. So I know where he is at all times.
And then briefly, I just want to touch upon the iPad Pro. It's obvious they have to come out with something to really compete, because the iPad Air, the current Air model, is so compellingly much the same as what the Pro is currently, other than, you know, the LiDAR and some other things. But there's definitely a rumor that they're going to be working on another iPad Pro. I would say they probably will be focusing on the 12.9 inch because that's what people want. They want the larger size screen, but I think the 11-inch model will come out as well. Possibly, maybe they would even have it would feature a mini LED display, or even perhaps maybe a 5G chip if you have the cellular version, which would be kind of cool to get the 5G speed on it. But yeah, I think iPad is definitely going to be something they'll look at the beginning of this year. But I would anticipate that they'll have at least 3 events again, like they did last year. So we'll go from March, June, and September, and it seems like it'll be about the same. We'll see what happens with that. So, but any thoughts on the iPad before we move on here to the closing out here of the show here?
You nailed it. When we saw the new iPad lineup at the end of 2020, it just totally telegraphed that there's a new iPad Pro coming that's going to have some compelling new features, because they did what they've done before, where they take one product and it overlaps the Pro product enough where you look at it and think, why would I want to get the Pro product now? And the answer is, well, wait, because the new Pro product is coming out and it's going to have interesting new features, and that's the one that you've been holding out for.
Yep. All right, let's move on. I got one tip here I wanted to mention, actually, because I realized that many of us are using Zoom these days when we're doing presentations and attending meetings, of course. But Zoom now allows you to be able to AirPlay your iPhone or iPad directly from natively in Zoom, which I thought was really cool. So basically, what you do is when you go to share something on your screen here, you're going to have the option where it says either you can connect the iPhone via cable or you can connect it via AirPlay. Then when you pick AirPlay, there will be a plugin that it has to download through Zoom, which is pretty cool, and it really works. I was very impressed. I'm wondering, when I do presentations, I might use that versus reflectors, which I usually use to share my phone, because then this is now built right into Zoom. So why do I need to use a third party in order to do it if I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings? Of course, if you do other services, it's, you know, you're not going to have as much of a flexibility with that. So, but I love using AirPlay, the apps that let you share. I mean, yeah, you can use it with QuickTime, because a lot of people do that when they plug it in with the cable. But I don't like QuickTime as much. But thought it was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
And then I've got 2 apps I wanted to bring up this week. The first one, this actually was featured in 9 to 5 Mac. I got a link to the article in the show notes, as well as a link to the app. This is an app called Overviewer. It's a new app that turns your iPhone into a document camera for Zoom or even virtual learning. this is actually from a developer that wanted to design an app for his wife, who was a school teacher. And what it does is it actually turns the iPhone actually into a document camera. And then on Zoom, you just share it, just like what I just described. And it actually brings up the app. It actually has access to all three lenses. So you can, if you have an iPhone 12 Pro Max like we do, I can zoom and go between the three lenses. You could put it on a stand, because I have like a Belkin stand that I would use all the time, and this also works with the iPad too. Then you actually put this onto the stand, and it's a clear out document viewer, so you can share your screen, flip it landscape or portrait, whichever you prefer. But it'd probably be better to be landscape, because then it goes fuller, bigger screen. So then you could just be writing things. And of course, teachers are always wanting to show their writing or whatever. This was a great app.
It's an overhead projector.
It's basically an overhead projector. And
for those of us of a certain age.
Yeah. So, and this app is absolutely free. I cannot believe this guy's not charging for it. And he actually has a link in the app. You can watch a YouTube video and doing the demonstration of it. And actually it's in the article as well. But yeah, a document camera and it can be used on Zoom when you share it. So got a link to that. And then the other app I found interesting was a new TV remote. This actually turns your iPhone into a universal control for your TV. This is a 9 to 5 Mac link, and then I've also got a link to the app on the App Store. And it's a lot of those apps, there's so many. You search TV remote and there's so much garbage that comes up in the App Store, honestly. This one actually works with LG and Samsung TVs. So I just downloaded it. It is not free. It's $3.99, which I think is fairly reasonable. It's
cheaper than buying a Harmony.
Yeah, if you had to buy Harmony for 70 or 80, 90, $100. So, and no apps.
Does a lot of stuff. Right?
It does, but too much stuff, I think. But that's me. So, this is a great app. And I thought it was an interesting find. So those were both out this week, and check both those apps out. And you guys, any other thoughts on this app?
I'm looking at the app right now from the 9 to 5 Mac article.
Yep.
If you have a TV that supports this looks great.
Yeah. I don't have to go fumbling around looking for my remote.
Yeah, I mean, between this and the Apple Remote widget or whatever they're calling it now,
right?
I mean, you're set. Your iPhone is now a universal remote.
Yep.
So LG and Samsung and all TV makers have their own app that I've been using them. So, and they're pretty crappy, to be honest with you.
Right.
So
exactly.
No surprise there.
Yeah. So, but the one thing so I have the Harmony and I have the TV and Apple TV, but I'm still using about 3 or 4 different apps to navigate a night of TV, which is still a problem. So it is kind of cool that, my wife could say to me, can you turn this up, or can you change the channel wherever I am in the house? And we could do that. But I'm looking for one app that can control everything, which is kind of like the Harmony, but not quite the Harmony yet. So.
And this TV remote app actually works across all the platforms: iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watch. You also can create widgets and add widgets to your home screen. And it also works with the Shortcut app. And they spout out that the Shortcut app, you could use your voice to control your TV. So Shortcut app can help you with that. Yeah, so check it out. $3.99. I thought it was a pretty good deal here. So, all right, with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Jeff, thanks as always for being here. Where can we find you?
Thanks for having me. Seriously, I always have a lot of fun hanging out with both of you. And I'm easy to find online. You can Google me, but Twitter and Instagram, J Gamet, both places.
Okay. Easy enough. And then anything happening exciting this past week, Warren, and Mac to the Future? It's been kind of quiet, actually.
It's been quiet. No, we're just trucking along.
Yep.
For the most part. And Jeff, thanks again. Happy belated, by the way.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You hit something yesterday, I think, right? You leveled up.
I leveled up. Well, every orbital completion around the sun, that's a level up.
Yep.
So
that's the only way to go from here, right? So.
That's right. Just keep spinning.
Absolutely. So, all right, guys. Great show. Appreciate everybody being here. I hope everybody enjoyed listening. And thanks for listening. Talk again to you soon.